What's going on, connoisseurs? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Saturday, June 28th. Happy Saturday. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to do another rapid-fire news update, this time for the period June 21st to the 27th. And again, it's not a deep dive detail. It's just a high-level overview. And we go over all of the major news pieces over the last week. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. You can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live and when I post these videos each and every week on Saturday. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. But as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Texas governor signs bill to significantly expand state's medical MJ program. And Texas was in the news and a major focus last week as the Governor Abbott, actually vetoed the bill to ban hemp. So love to see that. And then coming out of the back end of that was the Texas GOP governor wants to legalize recreational MJ, says Lieutenant Governor. Those are some claims from the lieutenant. So we'll see what happens here. Ultimately, this is the way we need to go, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. We'll continue the conversation there. But I mean, follow in the footsteps of Canada, right? We're the leaders. We're showing the world how to do it, and you regulate it all the same. Hemp, MJ, doesn't matter. It's all regulated the same here in Canada, and we've been legal for almost 7 years at the federal level. Delgetti signed strategic partnership with Cureleaf Laboratories, and Delgetti is a UK-based EU GMP certified medical MJ cultivator. So they announced the new strategic partnership with Cureleaf, and it's going to be for pharmaceutical quality cannabinoid innovation. So love to see it as they continue to expand their international footprint. Also, AYR dismisses talk of Connecticut exit amid its other MJ consolidations. So there's been a lot of states that it's been withdrawing from, focusing on Florida. I'm not sure that's a winning strategy because there's another operator by the name of Trulieve that's absolutely dominating Florida, and it's a very difficult market, right? A lot of competition, a lot of price compression at the moment. We're going to show a little bit later some of the price per gram in different states, but that's not sustainable. That's not going to be the case for much longer, and a lot of people going back to the black or to the illicit market, right? And then not so great news, AYR Wellness has no estimate for its Q1 2025 interim filings. Trading remains on hold, so there's a delay in the filing of their financial statements. Comes as its negotiations with creditors remain ongoing. So as I said for many, many months now, pretty much ever since Florida Amendment 3 and legalization in Florida failed at the state level last fall, I said be very, very careful on AYR. They have a lot of debt. There's a lot of competition. They've been withdrawing from certain states, as I mentioned. There's a lot of competition, price compression in Florida. And they were ramping up in anticipation of Florida going legal, and it didn't come to fruition. So I said be very, very careful on AYR. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in a whole world of hurt, and that's exactly what's been happening. Stock has been decimated as well, and the company is not looking good. They've also had a ton of executive, CEO, board members all leave, and there's been a lot of shakeups with regards to their executives. So the writing was on the wall. There was a ton of red flags there for AYR, and hopefully they can come out of this and shareholders aren't completely left with nothing, but it's not looking good. Also, elevate your summer with Canada's leading MJ brands and products by Tillray Brands. So they're coming out with a new multi-pack. That's going to be the Molo Blackberry Seltzer, which is MJ-infused beverage. So they're coming out with the multi-packs. They said this in their last earnings call that we could expect multi-packs at some point soon. So they're coming out with a 4-pack. But these are going to be amazing. Can't wait to try the XMG Atomic Sour beverages. They look really, really good, and they're beginning a lot. They're a fan favorite already. These Molos look pretty good, though. Blackberry Seltzer and Strawberry Guava Seltzer. And they've got a ton of other new products as well. They've got some new vapes as well, all-in-one vapes. They've got some new live resin-infused pre-rolls from Redican. And then this new Broken Coast strain coffee creamer sounds pretty amazing. So keep your eyes out for those in dispensaries and in retail shops this summer. Also, Tillray becomes the first company authorized to distribute branded medical MJ flower in Italy. So I think the population in Italy is around 60 million. So that's basically double Canada. And Tillray is a leader, in my opinion, in all areas, and they're in 20 plus countries. This company is going to be an absolute monster. Don't get confused by the current share price. This was some news that came out last week or this week as well. So they had a tiny bit of dilution. I already did a video on this, so you can check it out for my entire thoughts and opinions. But essentially, they're paying down debt, which was a convertible senior note due June 1st, 2027. So instead of paying it off with cash, they're issuing shares to pay it down. So they issued essentially $5 million in shares, which was just under 12.6 million shares of the company stock. And that was in exchange for $5 million principal amount of that 5.2% convertible senior note. So in very simple terms, instead of paying down the debt that they owe with cash, they issued 12.6 million shares to pay it down, which was equivalent to $5 million to pay it down with shares instead of cash. Also, Tillray Medical publishes pioneering research on pharmacokinetics of psychoactive component and CBD formulations. So this new study provides insight into the bioavailability of medical MJ formulations for therapeutic treatment. So again, Tillray's a leader, right? They were one of the, if not the first in Germany. They've got a leading market share in Germany and Canada. They're already selling products in the U.S. through their alcohol beverage line and through Manitoba Harvest, through their wellness line, their hemp beverages in the U.S. now as well in 10 different states, and they're probably going to be getting back into Texas as things are really starting to go the right direction there again. So Italy, the UK, it's in 20 plus countries. They continue to pioneer pretty much every aspect of this industry, and mark my words, they will be top 5, if not top 3, very, very, very high chance of that. And in my opinion, they could become the number 1 company globally when it's all said and done. 7 in 10 U.S. voters support federal MJ reform. Imagine that. And nearly half would view Trump more favorably if he took action, poll shows. And there's some information a little bit later on with regards to how they could use that to their advantage here, especially with the midterms coming up. And we know that the new administration says they want to get some sort of banking reform done before the midterms as well. Also, Jones Soda reiterates its focus on hemp-derived psychoactive component market in connection with its recent divestiture of its MJ-derived psychoactive component product line. So there was some confusion. Even MJ Biz Daily was confused. Jones Soda sells MJ beverage business for $3 million. So there was a lot of confusion. There was some headlines basically saying, I think they went and corrected it, because when I brought up the link, it said, they must have went and corrected it. So it posted June 23rd and then updated June 26th. So that's what happened. There was a lot of confusion, so they must have went, but it basically said that they were selling their hemp-derived beverages, and that was not the case. Anything derived from MJ, not considered hemp, they were getting rid of, but they're focusing and honing in on their HD9 products. And those are these products here, the beverages, the shooters, and the gummies. So if you haven't seen that video, I posted a video on it, and I also did some analysis on JSDA stock. So we'll move right along. The average cost per gram for MJ in every legal state. So this isn't going to, everyone's going to be like Oregon, right? And Massachusetts. Like in Canada, I think it's like maybe like, sometimes it's like $1.50 to $2 per gram. Like you can get a full ounce here in Canada. I think it is for somewhere around $65 to $70 Canadian, which is, $50 US. So it's not sustainable. Like I think the average ounce in the US is like $250 to $350, like somewhere in that range, but it's somewhere around $300, which is insane. I would never pay that. You can get like Quad A, really, really good quality stuff here in Canada at Canna Cabana, High Tide store. You can get it, not just Canna Cabana, but you can get it at Value Buds and a ton of other places for like $140 to $180, and it's really, really good stuff, and that's Canadian, right? So that's closer to somewhere around $130 US. So to pay somewhere around $300 in the US is just absolutely insane in my opinion, and no wonder it's very hard to combat the illicit market, and a lot of people probably leaving the legal and going into the illicit market because of that. But just take a look at some of these. So Massachusetts, you got $3.31 per gram, Oregon $3.40, Michigan $4, Colorado $6.50, which is kind of crazy that it's still that high. Ohio $6.56, Maine $6.67, Washington $7, Montana $7.50, Illinois $8, Arizona $8.20, California $8.42, Alaska $9, Nevada $9.25, Vermont $9.50, Missouri $10. Anyway, we'll scroll down. New York $13.20, Maryland. So you can see it gets higher and higher. But I can't imagine paying $13.20 per gram. Like that's That's insane. that's more than like what I paid before it was even legal in Canada. Like, oh man, I can't imagine. It's probably not even that great. But yeah, you should see some of the stuff, like especially from like Cannara Biotech or some of the new Redican strains. Yeah, like the new Redican Animal Runts and Purple Churro, fantastic. Like the Space Age Cake is one of my favorite strains at the moment. And like I said, you can get an ounce for like $130, no questions asked. And it's really, really good stuff, like 30% THC. Like I said, I said it, didn't mean to say the psychoactive component. But yeah, anyways, moving on. That's going to be a huge issue for a lot of these multi-state operators as price compression continues to plague the industry. Aurora launches 2 high-potency flower products in Poland. So the Canadian-based company Proprietary Genetics will be the highest potency medical MJ products available in the Polish market. Study finds that MJ not to blame for brainwave changes in psychosis. So love to see this. This is according to new results of a new study published in the European Archives of Psychiatry and Clinical Neuroscience. Recent MJ use does not significantly affect key brain activity patterns in individuals with psychosis. So again, the more and more studies that come out, not only is it not that harmful or really harmful at all, it's very, very beneficial and can be used for a wide array of different medical benefits. And it's way more healthier as an alternative to alcohol and tobacco. Attorney says just one signature could federally reschedule MJ. In a newly published legal analysis, Denver-based attorney and international drug policy expert Jason Aldistone outlines a compelling case that the U.S. Attorney General has the authority to unilaterally reschedule MJ without needing approval from Congress or input from health agencies. So regardless if this is true or not, I'm not an attorney. I'm just speculating, and hopefully this is right. But at the end of the day, Congress needs to step in and act, right? Congress can reschedule it. Congress can deschedule it and effectively legalize it, which they should do, in my opinion. And that's what they were there to do, right? That's what their job is to create common sense and laws that and legislation that the majority of people want. And like I said, 70-80% of people want it federally legalized. So it's time to do what you're supposed to do and craft laws and legislation. And obviously Congress can do it a lot easier than anyone else. But if this is true and we can just get one signature, that would be pretty crazy if we get that from the AG in the US. So we'll continue to monitor that. Also, MJ industry workers are the happiest in any job sector in the United States, survey finds. This does not come as a shock to me. MJ is a lifestyle. MJ is a passion, right? This is something that people love and cherish and enjoy, and working in, like, just imagine walking into a room full of like thousands and thousands and tons of MJ, and it's like walking into a Subway and smelling that smell. Some people hate the smell of Subway, but I love it. You walk into Subway. I wouldn't want to work there and like come home smelling like it, but it kind of everything in moderation. You want to come in and enjoy it, right? Come into the Subway and you're like, just imagine walking into a big MJ facility and walk out with this big shit arse grin on your face, right? Like, it's just it's awesome to see, right? That people are so happy, and you want to be, a job's a job, right? It's a 9 to 5, and it's not for me. I can't stand working 9 to 5. I love working for myself. I'm just not a good employee. I wasn't meant to be an employee. But people who want to be an employee and go to work, you want to be happy, right? And this is awesome. I love to see this, and this does not come to me as a surprise whatsoever. Also, Trulieve to open medical MJ dispensary in Oakland Park, Florida, as they continue their Florida rollout. Also, Weed teams up with Khalifa Kush to launch global well-being brand powered by MJ culture and AI. So we've been seeing MJ go mainstream. I mean, Wiz Khalifa is definitely no stranger to the sector, but love to see it. And there's some information coming as well with some more celebrities encouraging the new administration to get off their butts and do something. Embracing MJ legalization could help the GOP win over more young voters. Well, you also know the sky is blue. That's pretty obvious. Thank you, Captain Obvious. But Trump's first attorney general pick suggests, so that's none other than Matt Gaetz. And Trump still continues to call him a great guy. And obviously this would be a huge issue and low-hanging fruit for the administration to come in and fix it and say they did it, right? And then also promises made, promises kept, fulfilling their campaign promises. They said rescheduling. They wanted, Florida Amendment 3. They were all for that. They were all for rescheduling, banking reform, etc. So coming in, getting that done, and then passing some sort of banking reform before the midterms, I think would be a huge win and smart move on their front. Speaking of fronts, Forefront Ventures receivership proceedings progress and board members resign. So board chairman Chris Kane and director David Daly resigned as a result of the receiver appointment under Canada's Bankruptcy and Insolvency Act. So another one bites the dust. We mentioned this in a prior update, but yeah, there's going to be a lot more of this, folks. Bankruptcy, CCAA, all kinds of insolvencies. We're going to see this continue to plague the industry because we don't need thousands and thousands of producers in the space, right? And this is all by design. In my opinion, it's the companies and the big corporations with deep pockets that are come in. They're going to postpone excise tax reform and reform in the U.S. as long as possible so that the companies with the big deep pockets, right, the big corporations can come in, swoop in, buy it up for pennies on the dollar. All these entrepreneurs and innovators with all these great ideas, they come in and they just swoop it up. And that's what they do with every single industry, right? And I would say even more so with this industry. I've never seen, crypto's manipulated in a big way, but I've never seen anything more manipulated than this sector, the MJ space. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Also, High Tide opening 2 Canna Cabana dispensaries in Toronto and Winnipeg as it continues its Canadian national rollout. And the U.S. Congress expected to take up MJ banking bill following vote on the big, beautiful bill, says key lobbyists. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Mike Tyson, Kevin Durant, and Ricky Williams and dozens of athletes urge Trump to reschedule MJ and expect clemency and fix banking access. So again, I think there's a very high chance that this happens, that we get banking reform before the midterms in 2026 in the U.S., and I think there's a very high chance that we get it rescheduled. And I think they're going to focus on it after crypto legislation. We've seen the Genius Act, stablecoin bill legislation. We're looking at the Clarity Act. We're looking at market structure for the crypto space, which could happen by August recess. But ultimately, it's looking like crypto legislation should be complete at some point this summer in the fall. And then look at the seasonality effect for this sector. Typically, MJ stocks and the sector gains popularity and does well, from a stock price perspective into the fall. And it would just stand to reason that we would expect more focus on MJ to take the spotlight. And then once crypto legislation passes and that's no longer, a focus, I think they're going to pivot to MJ and they'll start working on MJ legislation. But again, there's wars going on right now. There's, inflation. There's all kinds of issues in the world right now that are bigger than this. And like I said, crypto's a $1 trillion industry already. MJ will be lucky to be 150 billion by 2030, right? So it's not even apples to apples. It's apples to grapes, really, essentially, right? It's just small potatoes in the grand scheme of things, but it's going to save tons of money, right? Tons of jobs. You've seen that any worker in the MJ space is that among the happiest in the U.S. So I think there's going to be a very big motivation to get it done. It's going to be low-hanging fruit for a lot of the these political parties as well, especially GOP if they decide to embrace it. But I think they will. Promises made, promises kept. So like I said, I think that leading into the fall, MJ should be a focus, and then definitely into 2026. And once big tech, crypto, AI, blockchain tops out, I think MJ is going to be a huge beneficiary of that. Could be the best performing sector over the years to come. But yeah, Mike Tyson, optimistic about MJ rescheduling, says it's more possible under current administration. And I would agree. A little funny, though, he didn't even know if MJ was Schedule 2 or 1. So I don't know how much help he is to us. But the more people that are shouting and screaming from the rooftops, the better. So we'll embrace that and welcome it. All right, going in it there, it's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. Let me know what you think of this news in the comment section. Again, we'll continue the conversation there. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again on the next video.